Hello, I'm David Kain. I'm the president of Kain Automotive, and I'm really excited to bring to you today the Live with Drive guy, Steve Roessler, who's their VP of Sales for DriveCentric, the CRM company. He's also their chief evangelist and someone that we feel really great about spending time with. And what's wonderful is, Steve, you and I have traveled together quite a bit. You've spoken to a lot of our 20 groups, and you've also spent a lot of time talking to our customers individually. So here's what's cool about it is you were very patient. You nurtured the guests along, if you would, almost just like a car salesperson. And not surprisingly, after 2 or 3 years, we've got a lot of customers who are now using Live with Drive or DriveCentric as a tool. So welcome to the interview, Steve. And if you would, take just a moment and introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about your background. And then, of course, let's talk about DriveCentric.
Yeah, well, before I do, David, I pulled out some reminiscence, just talk about how long it has taken to close some of these deals, because it's longer than a car sales, I'll tell you that. But I got this shirt, right here. You remember that shirt? Look at that shirt.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic.
That's a classic. That's how long sometimes it's taken me to close some deals. But anyway, the shirt still lives on in the.
Well, it's good that you don't have any moths in your closet. It looks like there's no eating holes or anything like that. So, Steve, welcome to the show, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no, so just tell everybody a little bit about myself. I came into automotive now almost 6 years ago, this upcoming October. So it's been a great ride. I'm a CRM nut. Before that, I was in the medical industry for 16 years. But the thing I really just grown to love in my career, if you ask me what my profession is, I'm a startup specialist. That's what I love to do. So this is my third startup company. So I did 2 startups in medical. Proud to say they're both doing really well still. And then when my buddy said, hey, you got to take a look at the CRM and you got to jump into car sales. I was like, are you kidding me? I'd walk in any hospital across the country. You want me to get into car sales? And when I learned it was a CRM, I've used CRMs. If, David, you probably remember ACT and Gold and Frog and all these CRMs. I mean, I always say as a sales guy at heart, what kept me in line was my CRM that I used. And so CRM, I always said, is what made me successful in sales. So when I heard about, selling a CRM, I was like, there's nothing more passionate that I'm about than leveraging a CRM to grow my business. So I've been now 6 years in the auto industry. Obviously, I learned quite a bit in the first several years, and it's been great just helping dealers, leverage and think differently about their CRM to grow. I
can imagine. Yeah, and one thing that we'll touch on quite a bit is engagement, and we'll get into that. Tell us a little bit about the organics of DriveCentric, where you're located, what about the company, because 6 years ago when you and I met for the first time at the NADA show out there, we were gathered in the second floor and huddled around, and you were like, let me show you this tool. And I'm like, who are you? And, I appreciate the fact that you were from St. Louis, you were a Cardinals fan, and Brian Rydell, our mutual friend over at the Rydell Automotive Group, he goes, I'll introduce you to Steve Roessler and DriveCentric, but you can't tell any dealers because we want this tool for ourselves. So tell me about DriveCentric.
Yeah, so the company officially has been around for 10 years, but when you're a CRM in today's day and age, I mean, to get all the certification, all the integrations with these DMSs, it takes time to really go out to market. I mean, I almost look at it as developing a drug in pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's hard to be a CRM in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
So when I first came on board, Dave Foltz, the CEO, did a magnificent job, obviously, getting the first initial team, product guy to really get the structure of what the product is today. We went through a lot of different user interfaces to see what the dealerships would like. And then we started focusing, obviously, on the engagement tools. What are customers doing today? And as I know we're going to talk about engagement, but the platform has been so flexible for us. We are now growing more things right inside the platform where dealerships don't have to go outside and try to piecemeal all these things together. So I say we're a technology company first. We just happen to be in the CRM space. So it's been a wild ride to kind of see how the product's evolved over time. And I mean, we have a great support team. I know I'm maybe the front side of the company, but I give a lot of credit to all, our support team, because they're the ones that keep our dealerships happy. And, when you're dealing with software, nobody's perfect, but we have a good dealer group that is very loyal to DriveCentric, and they see results. And that's one of the good things that's really cool. Being a startup guy, I want to make sure dealerships are excelling in their deliveries. But that we moved into our second company, or second building. So we moved from one company or one building to another company. We're growing to expand, and we just continue to excel. And to go from when I started 6 years ago to 35 rooftops to now we're at 450, and you're selling CRM. It's not an easy thing to sell. And, you want to market right. You want to grow right. And I mean, I still go back. I'll find that first interview you and I did, if you remember. We were worried about blowing up and getting on a show like the David Kain show, and it's one of those things. We want to make sure we don't lose track of our dealership partners that we work with today, and we don't want to lose. And that's really what we take most pride in, is keeping our dealership happy.
Yeah, so think about this. I mean, to be fair to me, and as a bird dog for so many CRM companies and technology companies, everybody who watches this probably is like, well, he's supporting this company. I support what works, and you know this, that our company distanced itself from relationships where we get paid to recommend and things that, in our opinion, would put us in a conflict of interest or undue prejudice towards one company over the other. Our strategy for the last 17 years we've been in business is just really line yourself with companies that are going to do great things for your clients. So when we first met, I was like, this is great. I need to introduce you. And you were like, no, we're not ready. We're going to move slow. And it was almost like this release. And I remember Rocky Santa Cruz, who you and I are really good friends with at Stadium Toyota in the Tampa market. Rocky goes, can you give me, some contact information? I was like, yeah, but let me just lay it out to you, Rocky. These guys are going to move really slow, and they're going to be purposeful. So, now you look at the fact that, the Bachman Auto Group, Don Ayers Honda, Champ Automotive Group, a lot of our clients are now in this, and then Chip Alvey at the Oxmoor Automotive Group. And what I love about Chip is, I said, Chip, how come you all use DriveCentric? What's the real reason? Is it the technology? Is it because Steve's got great hair and all the other things? He goes, well, to be really simple about it, it's because my team loves to use the tool. Yeah. So let's talk about that from the reception of the team members. Right. What you hear back from the field as to their engagement level with the tool, not just the engagement with the guests, but the team members' engagement with the CRM.
Yeah, well, I think when we go out there, one of the things I like to do is go out there and measure activity. So I think you and I were talking about doing some case studies and things of that nature. And, we always hear that cliche, the best CRM is one that's utilized, right? The one that's used. Yeah. So we go out there and you take a look at the activity that, is happening in a previous CRM, and they convert over to, let's say, DriveCentric. The thing that we want to measure is activity. If I can take a store doing 10,000 total activities to 15,000 activities, okay, while not disrupting their workflow, leveraging technology, if I don't get up out of bed today and do anything today, I guarantee I'm not going to get a sale. So if I get more activity out of a dealership by doing the less with more, investing in technology, the results will come. And we have to listen to the data. Again, some of the metrics we have in Drive that we're going out there and really making sure dealerships hear is, how long is the customer in the market? And, we have to listen to that data and act accordingly, because we can only get so much out of our people. And I guarantee if I had a lead I had to call in 90 days, I can guarantee what that outcome is going to be, yes. Or even 180 days. So the question is that the right, thing we need to implement at the store? And so if we know 80% of customers buy a car within 14 days, and maybe another 10% out today, stay 30, where should my meat and potatoes be? And that's what dealerships need to start listening to the data and act upon it. And that's what we're really going out there and celebrating with our stores, so they can implement it. And it's a culture change. It's fun.
Yeah, it really is. So to kind of give you some broader statistics there, what we find is about 24 to 25% of the people buy within the first 10 days. 57% take more than 30 days to buy. So that's a long maturation process. And then 32% take more than 90 days to buy. Now, all these activities, what we've seen is when we follow in the CRM, the average salesperson only follows up for 3 days. So when you talk about these activities, let's talk about the quality of the activities, because you're huge on texting, as am I. You're huge on video, and we believe in that 100%. We also love the telephone call. So what activities are you seeing that are really driving better results? And maybe a case study. You know, I know you've talked about Capital Auto Group over in Salem, Oregon. Maybe we pull some of their numbers and talk about that.
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I think when you go out there, let me share my screen here and pull that up. You just tell me, make sure you can see it okay here. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right, cool. So one of the things that what we did, and I did this for driving sales for the most valuable inside a word, and this was a case study we did for 18 months. And what I wanted to kind of show and illustrate to dealers is that, okay, if you have goals in mind, how are you going to get to your goals and achieve them, right? That's what we always got to celebrate. And in 2018, they were on a different CRM, obviously, and in 2019 is when they went live with Drive. But they were measuring 100 total calls and 50 total activities. And their text-email ratio, they just weren't texting a lot in their CRM, which I think is what we typically see in other CRMs. And yes, I am big on video, and this store never did a lick of videos, okay? So, and they didn't leverage artificial intelligence, but they were closing actually at 7.2%, which is, you know, not too bad. Now, when we go out there and we're approaching a store about changing the culture, there's a lot of things we have to do. We have to recognize the fact that obviously many stores don't know how to do video. All right, you know, give me some examples of doing video best practice. I know you've been talking about video a long time, but it's still a culture change to add that as a process in the store. So we go out there and help them with it. And if you get AI, you know, I know you can go out there and get AI, but one of the things we do is we train our stores to have the AI work with like a personal assistant. So what is he or she, see how I did that for you, David? He or she going to, how are they going to interact with the AI and partner with it and start being more of a catcherman than a fisherman? Well, I'm going to make all my calls. I'm going to make all my emails. I'm going to just cast the reel and see what I get. So when they changed their culture and they went live with Drive, we challenged them and say, let's look at this as an activity basis versus task. Are you doing the task, do the task, doing the task, get engagement? So if you do a task, that's to get engagement, but an activity could be response. So like what you and I were saying even before this, if I go back and forth with you 5 times, well, that's 5 activities. But I'm responding to the customer if they're going to be giving me attention. And so total activities, that could be phone, text, email, or a video, or schedule 8 appointments a day. Yes. Now their goals stayed the same. But when we looked at it from what they were doing, it was a complete shift in the key forms of communication we wanted to look at was personalized video, making a big difference to humanize that car buying experience. And text-email ratio completely shifted the other direction. So it shows that you can change your behavior at the store. Now, we could always talk about why. Now, the AI at this point was getting 27% engagement because our AI at this time was measuring some initial engagement and stuff of that nature. Because we're going to go fast forward to May, just this past May, and you can see what just happened. Their text email ratio went up, personalized video went up, but the AI, because we're on what's called Genius 3.0, she's measuring total engagement. So it could be something that was, lost. Somebody wasn't following up, like what you're pointing out, right? They missed the follow-up after 3 times. So the AI picked that up potentially. Yes. So we go out there and look at this activity, and those activities generate what you have taught me. And I always give credit to you, David, on this, because you were the one that got us focused on engagement. Because your goal 5-6 years ago when we met, you said every store should get 70% engagement. Is that a fact?
Yes.
I always remember that. There's
yes.
something in my head that I remember some of that stuff. But the question is do the dealerships have all these tools put in place? And the answer is they don't. But I want you, if you look at this, these are the metrics we need to start thinking about, because everybody goes out there and says we get this many leads, they schedule this many appointments, this many show, this many delivered. And there's a big black hole that we're not tracking. So if I get 70% engagement of 1,754, if we just look at May, I can only schedule 1,228 appointments. I can't schedule an appointment with somebody that doesn't talk to me, right?
But when I look at this, here's what concerns me, Steve, is if I deliver 291 vehicles instead of 140, that means I made more money. And what am I going to do with that money that I made?
That's a problem.
Yeah, so each level of success presents a new problem. So,
Well, you know Denny, all right? So I'll tell you, and on record, if Denny's watching this, he bought a hot tub in August and he bought a motorcycle in May. So I can tell you what.
Okay. See, that's the kind of advice we need. All right, so excellent success story. And if you would, stop sharing your screen. We'll bring you back up on the big screen again.
Oh, you're
Tell
good.
me, if you look at your journey and as you move from medical into automotive, are you starting to have a greater appreciation for automotive? Because 6 years is an awful long time to be at a startup, and I'm starting to question whether or not you feel like maybe you're not the startup guy anymore, maybe you're the staying guy. So what do you think of automotive through your experience?
Yeah, well, I say it's startup. I mean, because, there's 18,000 dealerships in the U.S., I believe is what the number is. And, we have 450. At what point, let me ask you, we're sustained, we're profitable, we're growing, we're adding newer technology every single day. So I don't know. I mean, I still feel like we're a startup because, I call on a lot of people and they still don't know who we are. So that's the reason why I still feel like we're a startup.
Startup is a culture, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we are. We are such a small knit group in DriveCentric. I mean, as a family we have here, we talk like between the weekly with our pods and things like that, making sure stores are going well, during this hard time and things like that.
Sure. Well, speaking of changes in business, you all just introduced the tool this fall. I'm sorry, not the fall, but during the late spring, early summer. That really something that plays well for what we teach, which is virtual appointments. So if the guests won't come in because they want to remain at home and they're just unsure, maybe they want to pick up the vehicle or have it delivered, but that doesn't mean we still can't have an appointment. So let's talk about your live room strategy, how that came about, and early indicators of success with that tool.
Yeah, no, it's great. Actually, what's kind of funny is we had this product ready 2 years ago.
Wow.
But if you look at it 2 years ago, would anybody have done it? Probably not. It would have been probably a harder thing to really train. Now, the fact that COVID hit, we just prioritized some of our projects and we shifted to this because of just the need and digital retailing, things of that nature. So what's been nice is we've been going out there doing our own little DriveCentric 20 group meeting internally and trying to leverage and teach stores how to build their business, leveraging another avenue. The analogy I give to dealerships is if you're on a 1-lane highway, I'd be a little worried. This day, like if McDonald's closed their drive-through, would the McDonald's lose business? And you and I both know the answer is yes. But if you open up a drive-through and you're the first one to open the drive-through, are you going to get more business? And we all know the answer is yes. So that's just 2 lanes of delivering food at McDonald's that we can do. So if we have customers just during COVID that they don't want to go out in public, they have immunity issues, whatever it may be, they have, we have a neighbor down the street, with special needs child, and they're very careful about who's around that child. So there are a lot of opportunities that dealerships could be missing just because they don't know what's going on in their personal life.
Yeah.
So that to me, how in the world do we say no to another opportunity to sell? So the things we're kind of teaching on the live rooms is how to do, let's say, a credit app, using live rooms. So some stores, obviously you get a credit app. You've probably seen it, David, where the credit app's not filled out appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, would you like to, I'll text you, email, whatever. Hey, would you like to get on a live room meeting? Let me help you fill out this credit app. Maybe a customer is on the digital retailing tool on the website. Hey, can I share you a link where you can share your screen and I can talk you right through the system and answer any questions you have right there, and being very efficient with that customer and giving them what they want. That digital showroom experience is what we really are talking about. People are starting to do F&I. through using live rooms. So if I was an internet person, I'd do a meet and greet. If I had a customer with a trade, why wouldn't I go out there? And what you can do in Drive, the live rooms, is say, Mr. Used Car Manager, can you jump on my call? My customer's on the phone on the live room meeting, and he's going to show us our trade, so we can do a trade appraisal. I mean, must I go on?
It's so true. Yeah, and what's so fun is, Steve, you've kind of built this evangelical approach with the Live with Drive guy, and your company is very giving of your time and your willingness to go out there and just expand success for the whole, because the industry improves as your strategies and engagement and everything does it. And I hope those who are listening, who are in a position where they're considering new CRM tools, really compare the DriveCentric tool to anything that you're using now and those that you would consider. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you spending time with me, Steve. And more importantly, thanks for helping my clients do a much better job at engagement and selling more cars and obviously making more money. So, Steve, we're going to put your contact information up there, but I know that you'll be glad to accept friends on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and other connections. And you probably have some YouTube videos out there that people could probably learn from as well. So
you know that, so yeah, no, I
let you wrap up with any wise words that you'd like to give to the audience.
I at the end of the day, look, I mean, and I appreciate that. I always want to help dealers that want to be helped. And I mean, if you're looking to improve, if you're not satisfied with the results you're getting, those are the opportunities where, we got several presentations on video engagement, and there's a lot of things, I tell everybody is you got to be ready for the CRM switch. It's definitely, obviously time is everything. And so just because you reach out to us does not mean we're going to sell you, like today. It's a consultative sale. This is a business decision, but it's the right business decision. As I tell everybody is I had shoulder surgery right after your show in November. And I knew I had surgery in March, or I was going to have surgery in March before November, obviously. Yeah. And I always tell everybody is regardless of what you want to do is you need surgery. You're either going to have surgery today or you're going to have it 6 months down the road. But at the end of the day, you're delaying the inevitable. So that's why I tell everybody is don't wait. If you feel like it's not the right time, you're going to kick yourself, because many people, when they do switch, they're going to realize it's not as bad. The technology just allowed us to be way more progressive. And like I said, we just want to help dealers and sell more cars. That's the end of the day.
And your validation came from the fact that y'all won the vendor Shark Tank at our Clients and Friends workshop a couple of years ago. So
you still can't believe I won on GIFs. You still can't believe I won on GIFs.
Steve, thanks a lot. You enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll provide his contact information for those of you who are watching. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.